What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since I've recorded a normal episode for Redditor, and it's very good to be back. As you can probably tell by the background, if you are watching on YouTube, and maybe the sound if you're listening on podcast platforms, I'm in a new place. I've moved flat. In fact, I've actually got my own place now, my own apartment. So that is why there's not been any sort of normal episodes recently. There's just been more compilations, more movie length episodes, which you guys absolutely love. And thank you for enjoying those as much as you do. It means that when I'm doing other stuff in my normal life outside of YouTube and podcasting, that I'm able to do that. So I appreciate that a lot. But now I'm back. And today, the theme is all about inheritance. So I've got 5 stories for you today, all from r/amithejerk. The theme, as I said, is inheritance drama and, just families fighting over money. And at the end of the episode, I will tell you a short little story about my own family. And the only real bit of drama that I've ever really seen in my family, extended family, and it actually revolves around inheritance as well. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, it's good to be back. Let's get into this one. Drop a like on this if you're excited for it. Subscribe to the channel for more themed Reddit stories like this. Here we go. Am I the jerk for refusing to share my inheritance with a sibling? Hello, Reddit. I don't have anyone I can share these thoughts with in person, so I'm hoping you guys can help me resolve this. I, a 20-year-old man, am a single child, or at least I thought I was. Just over a year ago, I discovered that I have a sister, Lucy. The story goes that my mother had a child with her first boyfriend while she was in college, and they couldn't support her, so she opted for adoption at birth. My father was aware of this, but I was never told. Anyway, about a year ago, she made contact with our mother. They've gotten on pretty well. They keep in touch and go on the odd lunch. Lucy's also attended a couple of our family events this past year. Her and I get along fine as well. We're different people, so we're not friends, so I sort of see her as an acquaintance or friend of the family, I guess. It's a little odd because I know we're closely related, but at the same time, she doesn't feel like family, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's the backstory. Now, on to the dilemma. My grandparents on my mother's side both passed a few years ago. My mother was their only child, and I their only, in quotes, grandchild, and they left their entire estate to me. This was known to my parents and me before they passed, as they had expressed it when they made their will. My parents are well off financially. My mum's a nurse, dad's a doctor, and so they were fine with the arrangement. I was given access to the money on my 20th birthday, and the sum of money was much larger than I expected, totaling around 6 million. This is why I can't really talk about this with anyone impartial because I don't really want friends, etc. to know. Anyway, a few weeks ago, my mother sat me down and asked me to share the money with Lucy. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, to me, Lucy is essentially an acquaintance. I know we're related by blood, but I don't exactly feel the type of connection to her that would merit giving her such a large sum of money, or any money at all for that matter. So I explained that to my mother, and she wasn't exactly happy with my answer. She believes that I am being extremely selfish and that Lucy could very much benefit from this money as well, since she's still a college student and in debt. Now here's why I think I might be the jerk. I don't really see that as my problem. I believe family is who feels like family, not who shares your DNA. Secondly, my grandparents were aware of Lucy's existence, even though they never met her, and they chose to leave everything to me all the same. Also, it's not as though Lucy grew up poor in the foster system or anything. She was adopted at birth by what seems like 2 great people. Her adoptive parents are an accountant and a teacher. P.S. I do not plan to just hoard the money. I'm starting law school this year, and I plan to use it to start my own firm once I'm finished. So go forth and judge me, please. Am I being a selfish jerk here, or am I justified in thinking that simply being related by blood doesn't merit any claim here? Okay, so there we go. That is it for the first story. And in my opinion, this one is pretty clear cut. You're not the jerk here at all. Your grandparents were fully aware of Lucy's existence, and they chose not to leave her an inheritance. They chose to leave it to you. That's their choice, right? So Even if it was the other way around and you were sort of shocked by that, like, it's their choice. It's their inheritance. Like, it's their money, right? Their assets. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not up to you to decide where that goes, in my opinion. Like, even if you thought it was unfair yourself, which you don't, and you're right, by the way, like, you know, it's what's been left to you in their will, and it's their will, not yours. I mean, I wouldn't feel bad about this at all as well, from a moral or like emotional standpoint too. Lucy hasn't been involved in your life or your grandparents' lives at all. So why would they give any money to her? And why would you feel the need to give any money to her? Like, I get it. You are related, but that's it. Like, if you've barely even met her or like chatted to her much in your life, you say you're just essentially acquaintances with her, you wouldn't give any money to an acquaintance. So I don't see the difference here. Now for our next inheritance themed question. Am I the jerk for not giving my cousin my grandmother's house after she passed? I am a 27-year-old male and my grandmother passed recently. In her will, she left me her 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. Now, before my grandmother passed, she was in danger of losing the house because of unpaid taxes. She asked various family members for help, but none did. I was in college at the time and I had a huge student refund. She asked me for $1,500 to settle the debt. She said thank you, and we never talked about it again. I didn't want my granny to be homeless after all. That was about 8 years ago. Fast forward to today, and I'm now the owner of a house in the heart of Atlanta. Prime real estate, if I do say so myself. I plan on moving in at the end of the month before doing some light cleaning and renovation. Enter my cousin and her kids. She is upset with me because I got the house. She said because I don't have any kids, I should give her the house because in her eyes, I got the house for free. I thought she was crazy, but a lot of our family is on her side, stating that it's hard out here for a single mother. They told me I can buy a house one day because I'm an able-bodied young man. It will be harder for her because she has 2 kids. I'm like, well, she chose to have those kids and that isn't my problem. Everyone's calling me selfish and heck, maybe I am, but my grandmother wanted me to have the house. So, am I the jerk? Well, my question here is, where was she when your grandma was about to be homeless? Like, you were the one that stepped up and gave her money that you probably didn't really have. I'm not 100% sure what a huge student refund means. Does that mean like a loan, or like you had a debt and you still gave up $1,500? Doesn't really matter. You completely deserve this, just like the first story. And no, your cousin isn't going to get any, and nor do they deserve any. Also, we've seen this before. This whole thing about, oh, you don't have kids, therefore you don't need a big house, etc. Like, that's not a thing. If you've chosen not to have kids, or even if you've not chosen not to have kids, if you just don't have kids, it doesn't mean that you should require less money or even arguably less space. Like, your decision to not have kids means that you're not going to have to spend loads of money on kids, right? Unlike someone that has loads of kids, they're going to have less money, but that was their decision. There's no, in my opinion, right for someone to have a bigger property just because they have more kids and have chosen to have more kids. I just don't think that's very fair at all, because that's like saying, well, you don't have kids, therefore you're going to live in a flat for the rest of your life and you're not allowed to have a house because everyone that's got kids should have the houses. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you sum it up well at the end. You say she chose to have those kids and that isn't my problem. Exactly right. That does not make you selfish, by the way. If anything, it makes her selfish. Again though, like, your grandma wanted you to have the house. Same as in the first story where OP's grandparents wanted everything to go to OP. Again, that's their decision. Now for our third post. Am I the jerk for embarrassing my stepdad in front of his family, saying he's in my house? For the past few months, I, a 17-year-old man, haven't had a good relationship with my mum or stepdad. I'm angry at them because 2 years ago, when my dad passed away, he left me inheritance that I'm supposed to get on my 18th birthday. I'm also getting survivor's benefits that my mum uses for me when I need things, so it's not like she used this inheritance for me. They bought a house that we moved into. It was weird for me because we always lived in a 3-bedroom apartment. My stepdad is a substitute teacher and my mum's a part-time receptionist. They never even had enough to go for a vacation or something, but all of a sudden they had a large house out of nowhere. My mum looked guilty about it until she finally admitted they used some of what my dad left me to buy the house. I lost my mind. They tried to justify that it was for me too. And I asked them, well, does that mean they're moving out when I'm 18 and the house is going to be in my name? And they're like, no. So yeah, that's what I thought. Supposedly the house was for me, but the max time I would have lived there was a few months. There's still some money left if I went to a cheap college, but I still can't believe they used my money for something on themselves. That amount could have helped me get my own dang house. I also think it's funny since my stepdad didn't even like my dad, because since I was spending more time with him, that meant my mum had to pay a little in child support. But he doesn't care using the money he left for me. I'm sorry this is a bit of a rant, but I'm asking if I was a jerk last Saturday. His family all came to stay at the house. They stayed Friday night, so it was the next morning when I'm getting ready to go for work. I made myself eggs in a hurry before I left, and my stepdad asked how come there wasn't more for his family. And I told him it's because I'm already leaving for work. There's not going to be enough time to make something for everyone. He acted like it's not a big deal if I'm a little late, since it's rare they have people over at the house. We got into a back and forth because I'm not going to stop to make breakfast when he can do it himself. Then he pulled the "don't talk to me like that in my house." By the way, there's no door in the kitchen and that leads right to the living room so everyone could hear this. I said loudly, actually it's my house since you paid for it with my money, and don't forget that you stole from me. My mum is expecting me to apologise for embarrassing him in front of his whole family because after I left they all had stuff to say about it. They'd already gone home by the time I got home, but you could feel the tension. He straight up ignored me, that's how bad it was. I don't feel like there's anything for me to apologise for, so that's where she thinks I'm not being a good son and kind of a jerk. I want to know if others feel the same. Now, this one I have serious problems with because you've got to get lawyers involved in my opinion, right? Something's gone wrong here. I don't really know exactly how they've managed to do this. Your mum and stepdad, that is, but that isn't their money. Maybe it's because you're under 18. I'm sure that must be the reason, but if your dad structured his will properly, then there should be no way that legally this has been allowed, right? Because like, how can your mum just misuse the funds that are in your name, or at least are going to be in your name very soon when you turn 18, into buying a house, or, you know, just using it for her and her new husband's personal benefit? Something must have gone wrong here. So definitely get a lawyer involved. In the immediate term, like, yeah, you're right, it is your house, but legally I just want to make sure that it definitely is. So yeah, this one's probably more serious than the previous two. I think you just need to get a lawyer involved as quickly as you possibly can and make sure that although you're saying it's your house, it actually legally is your house, and all the money that's been promised to you is going to actually go to you. Am I the jerk for not wanting to give my wealthier sister the lion's share of the inheritance? Yesterday, my parents sat me, a 31-year-old man, my two brothers, who are 32 and 34, and my sister, who is 41, down to discuss their will. My parents informed us that they want to split it 5 ways. My sister gets 2/5, while the 3 of us brothers get 1/5. Their reasoning is that my sister sacrificed her childhood for our family, so it's only fair she gets compensated. In our childhood, my father's business partner screwed him over, so there was a period where we were broke and in debt. My parents had to work multiple jobs to keep us afloat, and my sister babysat us while our parents worked. All she had to do was feed us and keep an eye on us. We were pretty calm kids, so all we did was play games and do our homework. Yeah, it probably wasn't thrilling, but not exactly a tremendous hardship. I complained to my parents along with my brothers that it's insane they want to give my sister 2/5 of the inheritance over that, especially since she's financially the best off out of all of us. She doesn't have any kids and a dual income with her partner. My parents said they're disappointed in us and said we need to reflect on ourselves. My sister didn't say anything while my parents spoke, but texted us afterwards that she had zero intention of taking 2/5, but we were all jerks. Am I the jerk for feeling like this split is unfair? Wow, that is a tough one. Okay, I think we have our first jerk of this episode. I'm a little bit hesitant to say it, but I think this sounds completely fine. 2/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5 for a woman / girl who was 7 years old when her first brother was born, then 9, then 10 years old. So you gotta imagine that she has sacrificed a lot of her formative or at least like teenage years where other teenagers would probably be having much more fun, much more freedom, etc. But she's had to babysit you, 3 boys who were, as I said, 7, 9 and 10 years younger than her, while your parents all worked. I think her getting an extra 5th compared to you guys is completely fair. Like, if anything, she could even be getting more. I love the fact that your sister said she doesn't have an intention of taking the 2/5. It shows she's a very selfless person. I think we could have told that anyway, but from your perspective, I agree with your parents. Like, I'd be disappointed in you too. How can you not understand from her point of view how much she sacrificed? And that point you made, or that sentence that you wrote about, well, she didn't really do that much. All she had to do was feed us and keep an eye on us. We were pretty calm kids. No, that's just like, there's no all she had to do there. Feed 3 young boys and keep an eye on you. And also, there's no way that 3 young boys were calm kids that only played games and did homework. Like, it's just not a reality. Maybe it's the reality that you remember, but it's not real. So yeah, I think 2/5 is the least that she should get. And once again, it doesn't matter how much money someone has now. I don't think. I mean, maybe it does a little bit. Maybe it does. But I just don't necessarily think that, because someone's got more money now, they deserve less of a will, less inheritance. Like, I think it should be based on sort of what they've done in their life. And you know, it's down to the person again. It's down to the OP's parents in this situation, how much they want to give and how much they value the time and the sacrifice that their daughter made. And now for our final Am I the Jerk inheritance themed post. Am I the jerk for not sharing my inheritance with the rest of my family? My family situation is messy. I, a 25-year-old woman, was engaged 4 years ago to my high school sweetheart. My fiance cheated on me with my sister, she's 28. We'd never had a good relationship, even as kids, so after I found out, I went scorched earth on both of them. She was, quote, so in love with my fiance, but he dumped her within 2 weeks and was back trying to get me to forgive him. I didn't. My parents were initially on my side, but my sister had a nervous breakdown after she was dumped and was hospitalized. So they changed their tune to, quotes, it's over now and you can't be mad forever. So I dumped them too and went to grad school on the other side of the country. My grandfather was livid with the whole thing, disowned my sister and chewed out my parents. Sometimes it felt like he was the only one who was on my side and understood. I was able to get my job to let me work remotely and move back to take care of him when he got sick last fall, and I was devastated when he passed a couple of months ago. I'd been in limited contact with my parents since I came back, mostly because I didn't want to be an obstacle to my dad seeing my grandfather, but with the understanding that any discussion of my sister or what happened would end that. Well, it turns out that my grandfather left me virtually everything. He left enough for my father to cover a debt and some token stuff for a couple of the other relatives, but he wrote a letter for everyone and did a videotape with his attorney explaining what his intentions were. I knew that he'd done well for himself, but he lived a pretty simple lifestyle, so I didn't realize how much money and assets he really had. I would give it all up, by the way, to have my papa back, but even after taxes, it is set for life money. My parents are pretty mad about it. One of the reasons stated for cutting them out was how disappointed my grandfather was with how they treated me growing up versus my sister, and over the fiancé debacle. There were other reasons, but that's what they're fixated on. The will is pretty airtight apparently, so my parents want me to do the right thing and share it equally between me, them and my sister. Their argument is that I don't need it. I make more than both of them combined, and this would allow them to retire. My sister's not doing great and can't hold a job, so this would ensure she has something for when my parents pass. I don't want to. My grandfather's wishes were crystal clear, and also I kind of don't feel like doing more than the minimum for any of them. They've been telling me that I am being vindictive because of a mistake years ago. I can't deny there might be a little vindictiveness there. I don't want them to suffer necessarily, but I also don't feel like they deserve my help. Well, you said it right there. Your grandfather's wishes were crystal clear, and that is the answer. Like, there's no real discussion here. You don't have to do anything because, as you said, like, your grandfather's wishes were crystal clear. Simple as that. It shows that your parents are, once again, like, pretty bad people. They're trying to emotionally manipulate you into going against what your grandfather wanted, which, by the way, is so bad. Like, your granddad's dead. He can't even speak for himself anymore, but your parents are trying to guilt trip you and gaslight you and manipulate you into maybe thinking that your grandfather meant differently, or, you know, made a mistake, whatever. Like, it's insane. Your parents did very little to patch up these relationships while your grandfather was alive. They didn't, and therefore they're suffering the consequences. And you are the beneficiary of having a great relationship with your granddad. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this inheritance family drama themed episode. Although I did say at the top of this one that I would give you guys a little story of my own. Now, if you've been around on my channel for a while and you've listened to a lot of these episodes, you will probably know that I've been very fortunate with my family. Well, I am very fortunate with my family. There is a distinct lack of drama and sort of anything bad, really, that's ever happened in my life with my family. And I know I'm extremely fortunate to be able to say that. However, there was one occasion once. Now, I am called a Mauritian. My surname, Ukiah, is Mauritian, from the country of Mauritius. It's where my granddad was born. Sadly, he is no longer with us. However, his mother, who also was no longer with us, had a pretty big inheritance, I suppose, or a pretty decently sized estate to give away. Now, she had a lot of brothers and sisters and just general extended family, their kids, of course. And I remember one time at one of her parties, I don't know what it was, maybe like her 90 something, maybe even her 90th, there was a little bit of a fracas outside between two likely Mauritian lads who were actually having a scrap. I don't know who they were. I think they're like great uncles or uncles of mine. But they were fighting over some inheritance because I think one of them didn't like the fact that the other one was getting more money in Nana's will, my great-grandmother's will. So that's sort of it. You know, it can happen. And it was pretty interesting to see. It was a long time ago. I didn't really know what was going on, but it happens. That's probably the only drama that I've ever experienced in my family, which is, again, pretty amazing to be able to say. But yeah, I don't really know what happened at the end of that, but it happened. Not really as interesting as the other stories that I've read today, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Anyway, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want more themed Reddit episodes similar to this, I've left a couple on screen right here and right here. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and let me know in the comments down below if you like these themed episodes. I will catch you in the next one. Take care, guys.